afternoon and welcome to today's market color recap session. We had a very detailed session this morning where we marked out certain points that we wanted to see price trade into. So now we just want to do a recap to see if price has now traded into those levels. I see a couple of us online. Good afternoon, Mr. Ayuba, Mr. Isaac, and Mr. Philip, and those of us on YouTube as well. So as at this morning's analysis, remember we stated that we're looking out for the news release that will be coming out by 1:30 p.m. I'll quickly go back to share the Forex Factory platform. And we stated today being August 12th, we knew CPI was going to be coming out by 1:30 p.m. So there are about 3 different ones that came, core CPI month on month, which came out exactly as expected. Then we had CPI, again, the second one came out as expected, but then CPI year on year came out mildly lower, right? So what does this mean? What's the market reaction logic now for the dollar? Now, since the headline inflation CPI year on year came in lower than forecast, this is signifying a mild bearish move for the dollar, because this now suggests that inflation pressure is cooling down slightly faster than expected, right? However, because the core CPI month on month met expectations, we still think it's going to offset some of this bearishness we're seeing on the CPI year on year. So core inflation is more closely watched by the Fed. So because of this came out lower than expected, tiny bit, but this came out as expected. Then it's giving insights that the bearishness on the dollar may just be very mild. Now looking at USD, let's go back to the chart. On the USD card asset class, you'd see that when the news release rather came out by 1:30 p.m., you'd see the reaction on the market. It came and gave us a mild move to the downside. We marked out certain level points. I guess they've all cleaned up. So I'm going to have to draw them up again. I would have preferred to see the markups we did this morning, so you now see what we're looking at for, but it's fine. I'm going to draw them back out. We marked out 4 level points, right? We said yesterday's high and low, day before yesterday's high and low. I wanted to see what price will do when it gets into those particular level points. So I'm marking them back out. You see that price is currently at our 5-minute trend. If you've joined our market color sessions a couple of times, I always say that the 5-minute trend on the M5 has a good probability setup. So price has now traded in here. What are we now seeing? The news from the CPI data came out, pushed price down into a point of interest, and it is starting to react to the upside. So you can see that this particular POI has been triggered and price is currently moving. For NZD-USD as well, we said we're looking at temporal buys of this particular asset class. Let me go ahead and mark out the 4 basic points we marked out early this morning. Yesterday's low and yesterday's high, same thing for day before yesterday's high and low. So looking at these different zones marked out into today, price has now traded back above. But give me a second while I draw them back up. Draw them back up on the chart. So we said we're looking at NZUSD buying, and we prefer to start to sell NZUSD when it gets back into one of our points of interest. You see how price has now traded into our POI, very precise, and it is also starting to react to the downside. So all of the analysis our buyers on NU so far has been playing out accordingly as we analyzed this morning, right? So this is now, except you're looking for more confirmations, we're looking for more confirmations, then you can fine tune it according to your analysis. Looking at M1 to see if this gave a confirmation to start to sell. Now, this is still a bit fresh after the news. And oftentimes when we have these news releases, the market takes a bit of time to eventually digest the news and settle down, right? So you're looking at this now. Price has not traded below, but it has not given us a retest of what we prefer to see, right? So we're looking at this, but our POI has been respected, even for AUD-USD. AUD-USD, again, drawing out those points of interest that's got wiped out. You see that price tapped exactly into the points of interest we had marked out for this as well. You know, we had about 4, and the purpose of drawing these different POIs is to see which of them hold, so that we can now take advantage. Am I drawing? This is today's data. I need to adjust this, sorry. I'm drawing today's low instead of yesterday's low. Okay. That is very fast, but I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And then adjust this as well. This is supposed to be yesterday's level marked out, not today. I need to go and check the other asset classes to be sure I didn't mark out today's data. Okay, so this is now what we're looking out for. Our point of interest is another one right here, which is day before yesterday's high. So where is price currently trading off of? It's trading off one of the points of interest, the 4 points of interest that we marked out early this morning. So you can see all POIs have been triggered. NZUSD tapped in and has done above. Let's see how many pips so far. Okay, 16 pips, not that much. Now, price has respected our points of interest. We know that what would now serve as an hindrance for price moving downward, this different support level. If NZUSD is able to break below this zone, then we know that the sell is going to continue. Remember that early on, we caught in a bearish move, especially on the H1 for NZUSD and AUDUSD. They looked like they were in a consolidating, they were in a consolidating market, but they were giving us insights, consolidation to the downside, especially for AUDUSD. You see, market was very choppy, and we said price was going to react into a point of interest and then eventually pick a direction. But we don't want to be caught in the middle. So let it come and do what it wants to do, break out clearly on the H1 if you want to now be on the safer side. Price has now done that and it has broken above. We're starting to see separations. If you're even zooming in, you're seeing that the range has been broken below and price is looking like it's giving consecutive higher, lower highs and lower lows to the downside. So if this is respected, we're going to see continuous AUD/USD sell and NZUSD sell with a buy on USD card, provided all things remain equal, right? So this is why bias hasn't changed. Market is currently moving off of what we analyzed earlier. So I'm just pretty much going to hand over to Ola to share some insights with us on indices. So stick around, don't go anywhere, except you have any questions. If you have any questions, please do well to ask and I'll do my best to answer them. If not, we can proceed into the next half of this recap session. If you missed this morning session, it's fine. Go on our YouTube channel and catch up. If you missed the video, and okay, all right. Ask what type of noise you hear. Can you just type in the chat box, please? Is it possible to type, sir?
No.
Is it possible?
I don't know if it is going to tell on
just
our
ask.
side.
Just ask. I think I hear you. Just ask.
Okay, what's the position in the dollar? Because most of the currency we trade is dollar based. The dollar will give them the direction. So according to the CPI outcome, so what are we going to trade dollar?
Okay, so I touched on that slightly. It is looking like a temporal bearishness for the dollar. You know, we stated this morning looking at okay, so another question in the chat box. Let me quickly go back to Forex Factory. Okay, so today, August 12th, you see we had the month-on-month coming out and the year-on-year. Month-on-month came out as expected, so it did not really do much in the market, but the year-on-year came out slightly lower, right? Slightly lower. So because of this, I said we were going to be seeing a slight bearishness for the USD, because what this typically means is that the inflation data, this CPI basically measures that, and it is lower than forecasted. So a mild bearishness for the dollar because it suggests that the inflation pressure is cooling slightly faster than expected. So because of that, remember, if you click on this to understand what this news release is measuring, you see that actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So if it is good for currency and it came out lower than expected, then you understand why we should see temporal bearishness, because if it was good or came out greater than, then more strength will go into the USD. But since it came out a bit lower than, hence why I'm talking about the temporal sales of USD. And except another news release comes out, we could see small sales of USD and then it continues move. Do you understand, sir? Do you understand, sir? Are you still with us?
Yes, I heard you.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Phillips said, what is your bias on gold? All right, sir, so you have different days for different asset classes, and today is for commodity currencies and indices. Please do well to join tomorrow so you can join that of gold and yen correlated pairs. If you want to learn more about fundamentals, sentiments, you could send us a DM and enroll for our classes. Fundamentals and sentiments are a big part of trading, and it's something that will really help you in your trading decisions. So if you want to know more and learn more, then sign up for our fundamentals class. Sentiment class, actually, primarily. All right, so without taking too much more time, this was supposed to be like 5 minutes long. I'm going to call on Demola to wrap up the session with a look on indices. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Cheers and God bless.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second part of this market follow session. How are we doing today? Hope we are good. Hope we are fine. It's been a while. Sorry, I was not available this morning. Had to attend to certain things. All right, we'll be looking at US 30, NAS 100, and also S&P 500 quickly, right? How the market is behaving and what we have going on. That's been an interesting month so far, so good for the US equity market, right? Because we've seen some positive news across board from Trump, signaling that they're expecting billions of dollars in tariff, what's it called now, returns this month. So it has been quite interesting, right? We see the market rally to a bit. However, since the last time we checked the market, it sold off in a way, sold off, and then I think I checked this stores last week, Tuesday. That was the last time we had a conversation. Right, the market was still around this zone, tapped into 50% of US 30, this engulfing that we have here, and then struggling to continue the bullish movement to the upside. I believe if this market closes very, very bullish, it will continue this buy to the upside, right? Because on the 4-hour time frame, structure is still kind of although technically it is bearish, but then we've been having a lot of struggle around this zone, right? Because price has not created any new high, nor has it cleared its previous low, right? It has not created any new high, nor has it cleared its previous low. We are in a range in this zone. So anything that breaks above this zone will lead us to, the continuation of the bullish movement we have, right? This that we had before, prior to this time. On the 1-hour time frame, we had this rally just about 30 minutes ago for CPI. It came out really interesting, and then we saw a bullish, push to the upside, right? I've not even really checked through okay, interesting, 2.7. All right, this is quite interesting. This is really, really interesting, 2.7. All right. So the market is reacting to all of this, and for me, by 3 o'clock, I should see the continuation of this rally again, right? 3 o'clock, 3:30-ish. All things being equal, this market will still continue its rally to the upside, because that's the nature of US 30. Begin the first rally, and then by 3 o'clock it picks up again. That momentum continues. So where will I be watching out for today? This fair value gap that has been created or is currently in the process of being created, I'll be watching out for it, and then probably tap into it. The next candle opening and then tapping into this zone for it to continue the move to the upside, right? So that's what I'll be looking out for this morning, this afternoon. This afternoon, we have a lot of fair value gap. Yeah, this. Okay, the way I've increased it now speaks two things. Price can tap into the open of this fair value gap or come to 50% here, which aligns with this breaker block on this left-hand side, right? And that will send price to rally to the upside again. All right, so I'll be watching out for this really interesting setup this afternoon. Let's move quickly to NAS 100. On NAS 100, which also S&P 500, this looks really juicy. Somebody is writing on the screen. Please, can we just ensure we don't do that? It's distracting. Okay, I've cleaned it. All right, so on US 100, the market is still very much bullish. We had a sell-off that was yesterday, I think even last week, right? This sell-off last week, I spoke about it. Sold off a bit, and then this second one was yesterday, and then price has really, cleared all of those bearish movement we had yesterday. What was the next point of action that could happen here? Next is this fair value gap. Price can come to test open of this fair value gap, just tap something like the next candle, enter a bit, and then continue its movement to the upside, all right? Or every price comes to 50%, taps 50% of this entire fair value gap, and then begins to rally to the upside. That's another possibility in this market, right? But for today, I'll be watching to take that buy more on US 100 than on US 30 than US 100, right? I'm willing to take that buy on US 30 than US 100. But then anything can still happen. But from what I'm seeing now, all things being equal, yeah, I want to take that buy there, right? Because on the daily time frame too, we are extremely bullish. You can see we are bullish. We are bullish. If this candlestick continues like this the next week, I think the next week will be for a flight, right? Although seasonal tendency makes all of this tricky, because on seasonal tendency, August, September, November are very dicey months, right? In fact, August specifically, right? It's from historic data, price action tend to range during August, right? But what we are having now is quite different because the market is truly responsive, right? It's truly responsive in terms of sentiment, investor sentiment. They are very bullish. So, but if we have this candle close properly, right, like this, till before the end of this week, then we are onto something really great, because that will be a bullish rally into next week, right? A heavy bullish rally into next week. In the 4-hour time frame, also nothing really special. We have this break of structure, the price trying to retest this zone. I believe we should see that push to the upside, continuing the direction that we spoke about on the 1-hour time frame, right? Price is just going to tap into its fair value gap and then continue its movement. We have almost the same thing on S&P 500, right? Almost the same analysis across board for today. So what will I be doing? I'll wait for price to tap into, probably come into this zone, because with the way I'm seeing price action on the S&P 500, it could come lower into this zone and then continue its movement to the upside, right? Continue its original movement to the upside. Yeah, come into somewhere around this zone and then price just continues its movement. All right, so I'll be expecting that today. I'll be watching out for how the market's going to react, right? And with that being said, that's basically what I have going on for today. S&P 500, US 30, and US 100. For any of us that has question, please, it's a good time for us to discuss our question. Mr. Yuba, Mr. Katio, sorry if I didn't get that pronunciation correctly, and Mr. Tunji, thank you so much for joining. In the absence of no question, we'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow analysis will be for gold, dollar related pair, yen related pair, right? So we're talking about GU, EU, DXY, GJ, UJ, and EJ. All right. Thank you so much for joining this session this afternoon. See you tomorrow. See you next time. Cheers and God bless.